morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm Lebanese, so the last week I was just wondering if what I could do most to help the people in our region. And I think I decided that our voice today is what matters the most. We are among here the people who are leaders in their industries, who are activists, who are politicians. And I think through this international dialogue, we could actually try to find solutions, because apparently the people in power are unable to do so. So potentially we can try to push for such positive impact at the end of this panel. I come from a very conservative Muslim village, and I was able to, I didn't earn my freedom directly. I had to work extremely hard for 35 years to be able to get ownership of my life, my freedom of speech, my religious views, my political views, but it wasn't so easy. But I really want to emphasize this point here, that when we say conservative areas in our region, it doesn't mean extremism. It means that this is the only way sometimes our society, our community, our families feel they can protect us, is by being overprotective. It's not because they don't want us to be happy or to succeed, but it's the only way they know to protect women, because we were still perceived, even for today, as vulnerable individuals. So I really wanted to clarify this context, especially for our international friends. It doesn't come from the idea that women don't matter. No, it's just overprotection. It comes from love. It doesn't mean that I agree. Definitely I worked hard to get out of this, but I really wanted to emphasize this point. Concerning the professional part, which is very important, I think the way that I started getting my freedom is by being financially independent. And I think this is very important for women. Whenever we are dependent, then we are still mindset in our communities didn't really evolve as we want in the same pace. So I think the way to take ownership is to be at least owner of our own life somehow. I think it's very important. You mentioned how we have men in the room. I think men allies are also very important. There's a misconception always in our region, I think it's globally, as we were discussing, not only in our region, that women cannot actually have both, be successful on the personal and professional aspect. And to tell you the truth, the first time I was taken seriously when doing a women empowerment speech in our region is when I became a mom. Because now I'm a mom, I'm a wife, so now yes, I can talk about the professional part, because I fulfilled what is the perception that is the main duty. So I really believe that we can do all. It's our way to tell the younger generation, young girls, that no, we can actually have this right balance, but if we have the right partner. So our allies should be in our home, in our personal life, but also in the companies, in the professional part. As when we talk also about the communities, being surrounded with like-minded people. So today I'm assuming most of you already found like-minded people here in which you can have this fruitful discussion. Sometimes we don't get the support that we need from potentially our families or others. So being part of empowerment communities is very important to make us continue this path and give us motivation along the way. And finally, what's very important is the political part. I'm going to be brief also about this, but mainly for the political side, I was a little bit surprised at this conference that most of the people were trying to avoid talking about conflict. And I'm talking about people from all around the world, which is very problematic for me when it comes to freedom of speech. So we're not here to talk about just pointing fingers. We want to talk globally. There's a huge problem today about the fueling of hate speech, about the fueling of how we are different. And I feel that the women empathy, it was always perceived negatively, but I don't see the lack of empathy in many ways is helping in the state. I believe our empathy will make us focus on what matters, which is really being more human, which is making sure that all those theories about the diversity, inclusion, freedom of speech, they are great on papers, but honestly, we are unable to take them to the practical part. And I believe that women can have a huge role in taking those amazing theories to work in our communities, in our corporations, but also in the political life. So our voice matters. And I came here today because I wanted my voice to matter. I wanted to translate and to bring to the table what exists on the ground, because misconceptions and prejudgment could actually fuel as well the hate speech. So about education at home, I'm not sure if I was also misunderstood. At some point, no. We have our education at universities. I think every parent encourages their daughters, at least I know from Lebanon, although I'm from a conservative village, to actually get education. But it's not for the reason to build career. It's mainly in case financially the family needed at some point, at least we're going to have our diploma to be able to support. So we are reaching what we want, but for the wrong reasons. But at least I'm taking this positive that we're doing so. And you mentioned something very important about the upskilling, about the digital, and this is a huge opportunity actually for women. Now we're talking about 50% that could lose their jobs within the next 5-10 years because of digitalization. But we are gaining much more jobs in return. So if we do the proper upskilling for women, introducing them to what is needed currently in the workforce, I think this would be a huge push for women actually to get this opportunity to be able to shine. Again, potentially for the wrong reasons, but but then I think this is also positive. One thing regarding the quota, because I hear what you're saying. Again, going back to how theories might look great on papers, but how we need to make sure we have the right processes for the execution. So, and I saw this, and we've discussed this before, that let me start by saying I am with the quota, but I do not agree that's being implemented properly. So in a lot of corporations, they want to have 30% women just to market that, oh, we have diversity and inclusion, we have 30% women, but they don't always do enough effort to get the best women there, and this would backlash on the long term. So this is why I want to say it transparently. But I don't think the problem is in the quota. I think the problem is with the proper outreach, because we are overwhelmed with amazing women existing out there, but we're not doing enough to get the best. So it's not only to have the quota if we're not getting people who are more qualified than our men who are, like, for example, trying to get the best place, if it's in corporation or in politics. In Lebanon, for example, the majority of women are the wife of someone, the sister of someone, which doesn't make sense at all. So we need more people, they are there, but you cannot put quota if you don't have the right mindset and the right approach of getting the best people in the best place, men or women. Again, this is not a race. I fully agree with you. It's not a race to it's not a race to have the best, but it's a full package. We cannot have part of the equation and then say, oh, it's failed. No, it doesn't work like this. Okay, I'm going to try to be brief. So for me, there are 3 axes on how we can do tangible values. The first is starting from home. When we talk about, like, religion, I think somehow in some of, like, the part of our work we still have arranged marriages. So I think it all starts from choosing the right partner in all of this operation. I've been part actually of an abusive relationship before, so I know that's not working. I was also given as example before I get married that don't be like Sarah. She succeeded in her career, but don't be like her. So I was given as a bad example because I'm not a wife and I'm not a mom yet. So, but I think at some point we need to accept that's going to be hard. We need to embrace this fact, but we need to think about ourselves. We need to plan our future and how we are happy. I cannot plan my future in a way to please people that might tomorrow or the day after not be in my life. But I need to accept that's not going to be easy, and this is why communities are important. To give me the part that sometimes my, like, small family or, like, society are unable to give me. So this is for me when it's regarding the home part. When it goes to the professional acts, for me, the policies inside the companies are important. We talked about quota, but it's a whole procedure end-to-end, how we're going to do it. And for me, if you are in a company that doesn't share the same values, it's okay to leave. There's nothing that would let us stay in a company. We're always afraid from the financial part. I told you I didn't come from, like, a wealthy family at all. So this sense of security, no, I want to stay in this company just to get my salary by the end of the day, but that becomes very toxic and we lose ourselves along the way. So whenever we feel we are in the wrong place, we need to start planning how to move out. We are working 10 hours a day, we need to enjoy it. No work is perfect, but I think values and ethics are, like, top priority in where we choose work. Concerning the third axe, which is, I think policies are very important. Violence against women, you mentioned this, so now we're still lagging a lot behind when it comes to violence against women. In Lebanon alone, we saw that we had, like, tens of cases of violence against women who died because the law doesn't really protect them as it should. We also said we want women to voice themselves. We need to give them, again, a safe place. This is where civil society is important, to give them this safety, to hold their hands and make sure that they are being protected along the way. And I think the last part, which is also very important, is financial stability. If we are not financially independent, we're not going to voice ourselves because we are afraid to, again, for financial reasons, not to be well supported. So there's a lot of work on all axes, but we need to drive all of this. It's a long path. I know it's hard. Again, I need to repeat that the majority, although they share the same concept, they stop along the way. And this is why all of this needed. Advocacy is very much needed, but realistic outcome, not theoretical ideal outcome that cannot take place. We need to go step by step, not plan for the ultimate objective that we cannot reach. I think we need also to reshuffle the way that we are planning to implement change in our communities and communities.